Hello and welcome to another exciting and elucidating episode of the Omni Talk Ask an Expert series. I'm your host, Mezzenga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are the founders of Omni Talk, the fast-growing retail blog that is all about the companies, the technologies, and the people that are coming together to shape the future of retail. Or as we like to say, the series that focuses on tomorrow's companies today.
Yes, we do.
We have brought you all here for another exciting live event where we are going to do a mid-year check-in on the state of live stream commerce. And the only person, Chris, that we could bring on to do this with in the right way is the one and only CEO and co-founder of Firework, Vincent Yang. Vincent, how's it going?
Good. Hey, and Chris, it's very good to be here again. So it's things are doing great here.
Yeah, I mean, I think your point is right, Ann. I don't think we could have a mid-year check-in on live stream with anyone else, because I think, quite honestly, it would like be leaving something on the table. It'd be like a big downer if I even tried to do it, knowing what we know about Vincent and the conversations we've had this year, right? I mean, 100%. I think you nailed it.
Absolutely. And Vincent is going to be talking to us about what's changed since we last spoke. And I think that's really important for everybody in the audience to be paying attention to. This is not a set it and forget it kind of situation. You need to be continually staying on top of what's going on with live commerce because it is changing just that quickly.
Space is moving so fast.
Yes. Yeah. And a reminder for those of you who are watching the early release of this interview live with us right now on LinkedIn, you can ask your questions of Vincent and the Firework team at any time via the chat session, the window right to the right of your screen. Don't be shy. Any question is on the table. And like we said, we have Vincent Yang here. He's one of the experts, and he and his team will be able to answer any of the questions that we know you may have on this topic.
Yeah, because this topic is hot. All right, Vincent, but before we get to how things have changed or the trends you're seeing in the market, especially after attending all the attending the trade show circuit, so to speak, in the spring and early summer here. You guys had a big announcement recently, like some big news on the funding front. Tell our audience about that.
Yeah, so Chris, we're very excited to announce that Firework just raised $150 million. So that's a lot of money, and it was led by one of the world's largest fund, the SoftBank Vision Fund, and then also followed by some of our best investors, including American Express, which continue to support and have commitment into us. So I think that fundraise is the biggest one in the entire industry of live commerce, and there's no one else raising much bigger round than what we are doing. And I think that really set a milestone that live commerce is here to stay. And then it really is now getting from the early adoption phase now toward the mainstream adoption phase. And so we feel very excited to share that here to all of your audience as well.
Wow, that's amazing. $150 million. And all right, I got to ask you, because, part of what we do too is we try to help other entrepreneurs. Like, what is that like, as CEO? What is that like? Like, how would you summarize, how do things change? How is your life different? Like, how does the business react to that? Like, what's the quick, 2-minute summary you can give about what that's like to take in $150 million?
I think, when we raised $150 million, and in the past, we also raised $100 million before. So total about $250 million already raised.
Great reference.
So I would say 10% of times, myself and Jerry and our teams feel pretty happy for 10%. And we're like, we raised a lot of money that we can do a lot of things that we imagine now is possible now with the funding, et cetera. But 90%, I would just say pressure, right? Because, this investor is giving us the money.
So.
A lot of people will say, "Oh, Vincent, congratulations! This is fantastic." I'm like, "Congratulate me when we go IPO, right? Because it's just the beginning of the journeys." And then, investors and shareholders, including all of our employees, every day be expecting is to generate a return out of this round, right? So when you raise 150 for all the other entrepreneurs, investors are looking to get, 500 million, $1 billion out of this in a few years. So the key thing that to me is, okay, then we have this round is, how do we generate a return? How do we really grow 5x? Right? We've been growing 5x about year over years, but how do we keep growing 5x year for the next 5 years? That's a lot of pressure.
Well, Vincent, I don't think that anybody in our audience is going to be surprised, especially anyone that was at Shoptalk this past spring, to hear about the plans and about this latest round of funding. We talked about it at Shoptalk, but live commerce was the topic. I mean, that is the thing that our industry is focused on right now. I'd love to hear kind of some of your takeaways from Shoptalk. And then I know you were recently at the Retail Innovation Conference as well. But I mean, what has changed since we last spoke? Like, what's top of mind for some of the retailers that you've been talking to?
Yes, I think what changed is just I see a further adoptions, right? In the tech space, there's a famous thing called the crossing the chasm. And I think in the beginning of the year, what I find is a lot of people are talking about it. They're talking about live commerce and et cetera. But now I think as of today, as I just get off another client calls, and more people already in the planning cycles, more and more big retailer to say this year it's going to be the live stream year. We really want to do this. Right now, Firework teaches how. It's not about whether we're going to do it or not. It's just more about how to do it. I think this already translates to a very different stage of the entire buyer's journey now.
And so, Vince, I'm curious too, like, because that makes sense, and especially I can remember Shoptalk, like people come up to us in the audience, and they're like, and Chris, have you guys heard about this company Firework? And we're like, yeah, we have. And by the way, check out our live streams at Shoptalk, which are sponsored by them because we're on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was impressive to see, but I want to press you a little bit for more delineation here, because, while you're saying the industry's, gotten on board with it, one thing I've learned from you particularly is that the live stream can almost be too much of a catch-all term, and there's correct ways to go about it and wrong ways to go about it. So when you say they're interested in it, what particular are they interested in, and how are they initially going about this implementation with you?
Yeah, Chris, I think I'm so glad you asked that. I think they are finally interested in doing live stream on their own website, right? Because before that, live stream has existed for a while. I think the beginning of the year, maybe last year, everybody thought, live stream, I get it. We're doing Facebook Live and YouTube Live and Pinterest Live and whatever live on other people's platforms. And now this year, what you're seeing, people say, I finally can do the live stream on my own website now, right? People finally realize what's missing here. Why the US has such a big gap between US and China is because we talk many times, transaction happen on their own website. It does not happen on social media's website at all, right? So I think that's maybe we can call live stream 2.0, live shopping 2.0, whatever, right? And that's the true definition of live shopping in my mind is bringing the interactive live shopping experience directly onto their owned and operated website, whether it's on their homepage, on their category page, inside of their emails, in the physical stores, right? And those are the places where live stream should be done.
Okay, got it. I'm curious too, because one of the other things I remember from our conversations is one of the rules of the road that you recommended retailers follow was, don't put too much make into this effort either. You don't need too much production value. Are you seeing retailers take that approach, or are you still seeing them kind of, overproduce?
We're still not there yet. I think on this point,
okay, I'm glad I asked that question. Yes. All right.
Yeah. So I think in particular, the American retailers. So we are there yet in Asia. So we have a big business in Japan and seeing how the Japanese clients are doing. Right. They're doing a very good job about having their store associates and they really bring authentic human connections in front of the cameras. I think American retailer, they still have too much legacy and memory they have to unlearn from the QVC days, from the Super Bowl TV ads days, where they think a video should be super well made, well scripted, minimum a few $1 million, hire a celebrity. So I think it will take them a while to unlearn that and relearn what's the new definition for video shopping.
Is there anyone that you've talked to in the last few months or meetings with potential clients that you've had where you've been surprised at like the opposite happening, where they're like, you see something click or somebody is like, yeah, let's try it this way, or let's do it differently, that you can share with us?
I'm personally very surprised with Fresh Market. They launched the industry first live shopping experience directly on a website. So when you go to the website homepage, everybody can check it out, thefreshmarket.com, right? Wow. As soon as you open up, you saw somebody was actually talking to me. Right, a real human being talking to me, and I click it open.
You will pop in and out of the store, highlighting this amazing store has to offer.
And look at that. Right, that's actually a very, very good live stream what they do. So they essentially they really listen to what we're doing, right? So they actually have all the store associates in different sections to actually showcase the produce, whether it's from the meat sections, whether it's the veggie sections, and this is how they're doing live stream. So there has been a very good Firework customer. So I was very, very proud and excited to see they really implement everything in the right way.
That is super cool to see. I'm so glad that you had that keyed up. I mean, we're planning to do that. Like you just had that keyed up, and there it is.
Yeah, I feel like it's better just to show it, right? And then people can have vivid examples.
It's so great, especially if you're watching it on LinkedIn. Go ahead, Ann.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, just for those people who are listening to this interview. Yeah. So what Vincent just showed us is, you go right to the Fresh Market website. And I think this is important to call out too, because I don't think people think of at least I don't think of live streaming and think of grocery right away. I mean, you see what happens in Asia, and you are seeing more like makeup tutorials and like other categories that this has been apparel that have been more popular. But what's really unique and what Vincent just showed us is you're going to the Fresh Market to place your grocery order.
Right.
And there you have this like
complimentary,
this video that's popping up right away. You're curious about what's going on, and suddenly you're engaged in a grocery tour of the Fresh Market.
Well, and the other part about that too, Vincent, I think it goes back to what you're saying. When we use the term as a catch-all too, it's a live stream video, but it's not actually a live interaction video, right? And that distinction is important as well. I would assume, right? And can you talk about that for the audience? Because I think those things get blurred sometimes.
Exactly. I think you're right. I think that's also a very misleading phrase called live streams. A lot of the US retailer are very worried. Is it live? We are live. Oh my God, this is right. Very insane. What if things go wrong? So it can be absolutely pre-recorded live. Right? Mm-hmm. So if you look at how the Fresh Market, how they do it is, our team actually go to their new locations. We help them to produce the entire live stream. I think 2 weeks before the real live goes out. Right? So then we have some buffers, right? Even though I recommend it during live is much better, but at least this kind of recorded live, offers a good buffer for the US retailer to at least feel a little bit comfort about controlling the content and be able to edit it and etc. But also have a feeling of kind of live feelings. Mm-hmm. So I think that might be the good middle ground for everybody to adopt it.
Which is funny because it's actually exactly what we're doing right now. We sit down, we record these interviews, and then we get on, we live stream them through LinkedIn's platform, and then we're all interacting with each other through the chat, which you can simulate on a website very easily too. Like
it's the same thing.
You can have your employees still talking to them, even though the video content that you're watching is pre-recorded to give you some sense of comfort. So I'm curious because you said that retailers were reticent around not putting too much production value into this. The other point I remember you saying too is that retailers should not be afraid to be authentic and put their frontline employees, in the videos and whatnot. So I'm assuming that you probably haven't seen that come to fruition yet either. I'm guessing.
Yes, not too much I would say in the past, but now more and more so, right? That's why the Fresh Market really shows a case. If you look at every single quote unquote actors that actor, they're all their employees.
That's great.
There's no single actor we hire outside, right? Because I remember even their CEO was saying their employee is the biggest ambassadors. There's no one better than them showcasing the product and enthusiastically. Because you hire actors, actresses, they're going to go into fake it. The enthusiasm is not real.
Right. So, well, and Vincent, I remember at Shoptalk hearing from PacSun and some other retailers about how they're specifically hiring for roles, or I guess not specifically hiring necessarily, but including this role of you may be doing a live stream. Like part of your job to sell the product is actually, setting up in this space within the store, and we're going to shoot right from that location. Now, are you still seeing that and like this evolution really of work in general, like the role of the store employee?
I think more and more, if you look at the retailer with the physical space, they are reimagining what their future work look like, the future staff look like, right? Because the foot traffic to go to the physical store is still pretty much flat. We don't see too much increase at all. And also more and more stores are continuing to shut down their physical locations, pushing more towards online. Right? So the remaining of them that they're really hoping that they have the live stream capability, they have some experience, etc. I was even starting to see the job post. You remember in the past, they say require Microsoft Office 360, etc. Now I saw a lot of job posts require people understand how to use Firework. It's starting to show up more and more now. Okay. I'm like, wow, that's actually very interesting.
Yeah. You know, listening to you two talk, something just hit me over the head with a sledgehammer too, which is why I love this show, because like that example you just showed and that we just did, and you just described for the listening audience too, of what's going on at Fresh Market. In reality too, you're unlocking a piece of localization there too, if you start to take that approach of using your own employees, because like, how cool is it if you go on that website and you see someone that you know in that store talking to you about what to buy? And through e-commerce, you have the capabilities to personalize things to that degree to whoever's arriving on your website to browse on that given day. And that's ultimately where this can go, which is something up until this point I have never in my life contemplated.
Phyllis in the deli could be everybody's Phyllis in the deli.
Yeah, you could have Phyllis, you could have Georgina. I'm making up names on the spot, Ann, but like, you could do, in theory, that's where this could go. And so there's a localization element at play here that we've never talked about in this conversation. I don't want to derail it too, but
yeah, I think Chris is beyond the localization. We internally use the word called human connections, right? And community. So really bring a local community feeling. So if you look at retailer, they always have thousands of different stores. One example in Japan, one of our clients, they have their store manager to do the live stream. She's just a normal store manager, and very soon she'll become a celebrity. More and more people come to the store to see her and say, oh yeah, you are the one that I saw on TV. Now I want to see the real person. Now I want to buy product from you. She continued to work in a retailer because they feel like a connection. When you have human connection on a website, people come back more, they shop more, they buy more, everything improves.
That is so cool. And I hope for people listening, especially those at retailers that are thinking about this, that is a huge nugget. You know, when we talk, I mean, retailers forever, and we've railed on it too, because you hear localization, personalization, community-based approaches talked about in earnings reports all the time. But I always kind of give them a lot of grief because I'm like, how are you actually doing that?
Right.
You know, you're talking the talk, but you're not doing it. And this is the actual real way to bring that element into the equation. It's super. Wow, that's super
well, and I think it also helps, especially, I mean, maybe not so much in the case of a Fresh Market scenario, but especially when you're talking about, you know, retailers who use clienteling or who are commission-based retailers. It's like, this is now you're giving that person the opportunity to also make more money, to, you know, get the person that everybody loves at Nordstrom can now be, you know, out in the world helping other people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and we talk to a lot of what you said, commission-based retailers, where they call them stylists, they call them makeup artists, etc. And so one of the big fashion retailer, they have 2,500, they call stylists, right? It's they're actually sales associate, but with a very good name. They're called shopping stylists, etc. So now what they're going to do is actually for each of the shopping stylists, they'll be able to create their very own live streams and sending their own link to their customers because they have a designated VIP customers. Right. Now they say, hey, this Friday night, I'm going to tour you around on a VIP shopping experience. I know you guys are busy. You're not in the physical store. No problem. I have the camera. I'm going to show you around. I'm going to show you around 20 pieces of our new collections that, you know, it will take you 2 hours to drive to the mall. But let me show it to you right now. You can purchase directly during the live stream. By the way, it's also limited only to my VIPs. So you don't need to, it's not always like one to many. It can be one to very small groups.
Yeah.
So this is all possible now.
God, I love this. I love that Vincent serendipitously shows a video that we're not expecting, and it changes my entire perception of where retail is headed. Like, I had never contemplated this, and now it's coming full bore. It's like Neo with the Matrix, just looking at everything. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But
it was not serendipity. It was by intention. I'm like, I gotta be able to show a video here. It's gonna show that. It's like to see the real things.
Yeah, fully intentional on your part. I just had no idea it was coming, which is great.
I got a plan. I got a website open. I'm like, I need to show to the audience. Again, the whole idea is people just hear about live shopping, live streams, and they don't see it. But everybody, when they see it, because I talk about use your own employee, people are like, is that gonna be too UGC? But when they saw how Fresh Market does it, they're like, oh my God, I can do it. It looks pretty gorgeous, right? So.
Yeah, right.
Well, Vincent, I have to ask you, as we're talking about this evolution, the new conversations that you're having with retailers, as you think about this new round of funding that you got, what growth areas or trends are you and the team at Firework really going to be diving in and investing in with that new source of funding?
Yeah, I think we're going to invest in about 3 different places.
Okay.
The first areas is about product and R&Ds. So we have about over 150 engineers. We'll continue to hire more and more engineers. We're going to double down to grow to about 300 to 500 just engineers. And right now we launched short videos, live streams, right? But we have a tons in a roadmap about virtual shoppings, AR shoppings, right? We really want to keep pushing the boundary of what next generation shopping experience should be for retailers. And also we have an AI labs, right, led by a lot of the MIT PhDs. And what we really focus, so for example, now we already have capability when somebody was seeing a live stream, let's say if I'm a store associate just myself, whatever product I show, we're using deep learning to identify the object, which automatically the product card can comes in. People can automatically shop, right? Because in the past, you need a cameraman. You need a person to do the live stream. You need an assistant behind the scene, whatever he or she talk about the product, right? They have to type in the link. Remember how people are doing those? Hey, here's a link for the product. Click on that link. Oh, he talked about another product. So now everything can be done just with one person's, we're using AIs and image recognition to do everything. So we are investing more and more onto those ones, right? We also invest in more, like what if this person was not good at camera? How do we do that? We have a lot of very good magical features coming up just on that front. Wow. So this is the first element about, R&Ds and new product features, et cetera.
So Vincent, before you give us a second one, just to make sure, I want to make sure I understood that point too for the audience too. So basically what you're saying is there's another application of computer vision AI in retail through its application in the video and recognizing what items are being placed in it to help with commerce and shopping, right?
Absolutely.
That's essentially what you're talking about. Okay. Another application of computer vision AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a computer vision. We already use computer vision in day one. So for example, many people ask me the question, oh, Firework live stream, but putting a long video on my website, does it track down my loading speed, et cetera? It doesn't. Like how come a huge file of videos doesn't track down a video speed, right? The secret sauce. Now, I love to review some of the secret. The secret sauce is our proprietary rendering machines. We actually use AI to compress a video to so small, it's a fraction of a fraction and a smaller image while maintaining the same resolutions, right? We use a lot of computer vision inside of that. Our entire video player takes less than 80 kilobytes. An image on a website takes about 3 megabytes. Think about a traditional retailer, you're gonna put, well, how many? 1,000 images, right? Our thing is only 80 kilobytes. So we already use a lot of computer vision there, but the goal is about using more and more for product recommendations. We also started to do contextual matching. Let's say if I'm a web page for this, what is the best product video we should showcase in that? All done by machines, right? Because my major is mathematics. Actually, I was never, have experience in retail, right? My last company I built and sold is a predictive analytics company. So no doubt we actually spend a lot of time in modeling predictive analytics in day one.
I mean, it sounds like, Vincent, you're attacking every single question that a retailer is going to come back to you with saying like, I don't know about loading speed. I don't have staff that's equipped yet to be on camera and to speak on at the moment at the ready. I don't have enough people to pull in and type in the link in the page. Like I need to, you're
or I don't know where to put it. I have so many pages, right? What video shall I put on what page? And shall I show it to what?
Yes.
That's particularly what you said that blew my mind. But all right, so I took you off course. So that's one area of focus. What are the other areas that you're focused on?
So that's the first area.
Getting that return for investors.
Yes. So the second area is global expansion. So we have been, already, we quickly become #1 in North America market, right? And then we recently just hired a team of 20 people in Europe, and I'll continue to develop the European market to add another 100 people there so we can further expand into, in particular area like UK's and France and Germany's and Nordic areas, which surprisingly is very good at retail innovations. So, and also, we historically has been fairly big in APAC, but now, with the joining of the SoftBank, I'm sure it's a Japanese company. So we continue to emphasize a lot in Japan and also the other APAC areas. So global expansion is an area we will spend a lot of money on.
Okay, that makes sense. Any other areas of focus?
Yeah, the third area for the use of funding is just opportunistic look at some acquisition opportunities, like small player, et cetera. I think this live commerce industry, maybe in the next 12 to 18 months, might be some consolidation. And there are some very small players, right? And so I'm sure you all know the financial market is now very bad. It's impossible to do fundraise for others. So it definitely put us in a very good position. While we need to watch out for, our runways, et cetera, but, we already see a wave of potential acquisition option coming to us, hoping we can acquire them and we can, help them, etc. So I'll be opportunistic looking at those stuff.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That's great. Wow.
Got so much on the runway.
Yeah. And it looks like you timed it pretty well too. Yeah. I got to admit, given everything that's going on.
Yeah. We got everything done before the market crashed. So it's, we got the stuff done in the right time.
Yeah. Kudos to you. All right. So let's get you out of here on this. We titled this, and I got to admit, Anna, I think I was pretty excited when we put this title together. Yeah. You and I, it just came to us really quickly, but we said the mid-year report on live streaming. So let's get you out of here with this question, which is, what advice do you have for retailers and brands, given everything we've just talked about, for the back half of the year as they approach this subject? What should they prioritize in their minds if they're interested in doing this?
Yes. So what I think is, first is two things. Number one is they should be interested in doing this. If any retailers hadn't think about leveraging live shopping or shoppable videos, I think they will be missing out something in a big ways, right? Mm-hmm. So now assuming people are already interested. So now the question I think you asked is about how, where do I get started, right? Normally the team, most of the retailer we talk to on a daily basis, they are short staffed. They don't have enough resources, at least for this year, until this one is the big strategic focus. So what I recommend is normally start with small pilots, right? Most of the retailer has hundreds of different locations. Try with one location with one stores. Measure the success, right? Measure your conversion rate lift, measure your LTV to CAC ratios, et cetera, right? So start with one locations. We Firework offer the full managed service. So we recently come up with an interesting package where we help the clients to do everything from content productions, live stream productions, and we will send people physically to their stores to help them to do everything, right? It's what I call the zero lift plan. They don't need to even lift a finger. We will be able to do everything for them to showcase to them the value, et cetera. I would encourage, retailer to take advantage of that, right? To essentially test as much as they can so that for this Q4 Black Friday, right? If you have already tested, how to leverage that, live commerce can be a very big, powerful weapon to capitalize on this Black Friday season, shopping seasons.
Hey, Vincent, I have a question about that. When you're saying to test in one store, I'm certain that many retailers have their test stores or whatever that they kind of like to do this in.
Yeah.
But does it matter? Should you do this in your largest flagship store? Should you focus on the associate who's going to do the live stream? How do you tell retailers to think about which pilot store to choose to do this in?
Yeah, normally it depends. So we serve many super big global business. Some of the global retailer, they will select a country, right? Certain country, which is very innovative, right? So for example, most of the retailer will select Nordic. Nordic is an area which is very open to new ideas. Very open to consumers, also very open to new ideas. Some headquarter might select APAC, which, this is a no-brainer, et cetera. That's one idea, but select a country, or if that's a domestic retailer, select an area to do a test. So for example, the fresh market is selected one regions, right? One store to do a test. So meanwhile, I think having a store to do a test and also having sales associate to do a test can happen at the same time. Again, there are so many terms. A lot of people call it social selling, right? It's a new term, social selling and social commerce, right? And then they can start a test on that as well. But, no matter what, I would recommend is set a time of 2 months, testing as many use cases as possible using live shoppings, right? Measure the result. I think summer is a very good time to do tests because when we go to Q4, it's cold freeze for retailer. Right. They're not able to do too much new stuff. So I really encourage everybody, take the time in the summer, experiment as much as you want, right? And go the big way in Q4.
And there's still time this summer.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Vincent, as always, this has been amazing.
Mind blowing.
Yes. Even more than we
Yeah, I was like, wow. Yeah.
It's the video. Show the video.
Yeah, right.
Yes, the power of video.
I'm
Everybody's
speechless.
excited
Yes.
by the video. If people want to get in touch with you or your team, they joined us on this LinkedIn Live event, or they're hearing this later or watching this later, where should they go to do that?
Yeah, I think just the easy way is firework.com. So the website is, it's so easy to remember. It's firework.com. Or, can visit my LinkedIn or any of our teams LinkedIn to share the notes. We will be responsive very fast. So.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, hey, and that wraps us up. Vincent, thank you so much. Again, Vincent Yang, CEO and co-founder of Firework. Thanks so much for sitting down with us today. Always love, from the bottom of my heart, sitting down with you. You're becoming quickly one of my favorite guests. And now a first-time 3-timer on the Omni Talk Club official.
Yes,
that's kind of our
Vincent.
designation, Vincent. So you've reached the plateau 3 times. Yeah.
3 times, which means we'll never see you again. So let's hit the maximum. So, but again, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, you get the free jacket and then that's it. We kick you the curb. But no, hopefully we'll do this again. Thanks to everyone for any of your questions that you asked on LinkedIn. Thanks for being here on LinkedIn with us live today. And as always, be careful out there.